can hear me, please raise your hands.
Hold on.
How's that?
Lower the mic. Ray, lower the mic.
Well, I know y'all can hear me because you just hollered it. And, well, Ray's telling me normal speaking tone, but guess what? This is how I speak, Ray. We have people from Canada. I want to thank Guy for coming and telling his story. I want to thank, can you move that in a little for them? I want to thank my friends from Canada. As you can see, their signs, protecting Canadian children. Everyone in the United States seems to have this idea that it's only happening here. I got people all over the country that tell me, it's not just here, Miss L, it's everywhere. And we have too much big government in our lives. We have too much corrupt systems. Our judges getting kickbacks. Our social workers are learning how to not only be a social worker, but become a foster parent. We have the children that are out there fighting, as you've heard today, and they're voicing so loud, so strong. One little girl, she's just so heart-wrenched and devastated that I'm honored to know her, and I'm honored to see the strength and courage that she has. And I get to hear Ray talk about what we plan on doing in the future. And I get to see Bill Tower out there educating, and that's a most commemorating moment that anyone could have in their lifetime, because him and Leonard Henderson, they're the grandfathers of the family rights movement. I get to learn from Roz McAllister because I work with Roz on a daily basis. There isn't too often I don't get to talk to Rosalind. And when I do talk to Roz, it's always about, I got this client, and they don't want to pay attention. And they're going to lose their kids if they don't pay attention. Or Roz, what do I need to do to help them get their kids back? Because it was done the wrong way when seeking to remove their children. I fight constantly for you, the families. And so I had the privilege of meeting people from Canada, and I had the honor of having them show up for this rally. And they intend on having an event in Canada that they want all of us to come to, because they're seeking to have hope. They're seeking to find an avenue, a venue, and a way for fixing the American problem, the Canadian problem, the Australian problem, and anywhere else. And so when they come and they hear us, they say, wow, we never thought of it that way. Or wow, maybe it can work that way. I told those children who spoke that they're not victims anymore, they're survivors. And that's the truth. They are a survivor, not a victim. And the reason that they are a survivor is because they're alive today to tell the story. Tell it to you. Call out Mr. Obama. Tell our congressmen and our legislators. They want change. Martin Guggenheimer said that in 50 years, and this was 50 years ago, the United States, who instilled this methodology, would come to wake up and see that it doesn't work. And when is enough enough for you, the American people? Tonight, you're gonna lay down, and when you do, if you have your children, I suggest you hug them, tell them you love them, and pray that you don't go through parental alienation. You don't go through separation as both parents from your children. You know, because I think the little girl said something that was very important. The privatized agency known as Children's Services put them into a blender, ground them up like meat, and basically their lives have been that way ever since. They tried to turn her against her family. It's no longer family members turning family against family. It's a privatized, hired by your government agency that are stealing your children, alienating your children, and all you may have done is said, don't do that or I'm gonna bust your behind. Well, all I got to say is I had my behind busted many a time in foster care, and it didn't break it. I survived being sexually raped while in foster care too. I gave birth to one of my children from that incident. I survived having a judge cover it up. Not once, but multitude of times. And the only way he could keep it a real good secret, folks, was if he sealed the documents and ordered the lawyers who had handled the case to shred the evidence. He wasn't expecting that almost 30 years later he'd be getting a phone call saying, yo, guess what I got? I got documentation, Judge Pierce, that you robbed me of my children because you waited till the very last minute knowing you placed me into foster care. Not only did you place me into foster care, you covered up my rape. You convicted the man for another girl's rape that was in the home. And you sent me away to DHS so CPS could try to steal my baby. And so he said, because I have another son who wants to know his brothers, and in the years that my son was growing up, laws passed that said he could know his brothers if they had been adopted out. But this judge still to this day keeps his secret of who had their little nitty-gritties in, because my children were blonde-haired, blue-eyed. One was injured and one was perfect, and so was the other one. They were very intelligent. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you. They spoke very good English, ABCs. They even knew some Spanish due to the fact that I was placed in a Spanish foster home, and I didn't know a lick of Spanish. Mi casa, su casa. I know it now. And they decided my children were worth as much money as Mr. Tower can tell you. They decided they were worth. Our Medicare and Medicaid system, folks, it's going broke, and you know why? Foster care. You ever think about that? A foster parent gets kickbacks that you would never think of. I want to go one step further because Robert Fields was up here and he is going to be talking tomorrow, and the issues he's going to be talking on tomorrow is the drugging of our children here in America. Do you know that Pfizer, because of the United States Justice Department, settled a $2.3 billion lawsuit? There was another lawsuit that was against another drug company because they told doctors, we'll give you this and we'll give you this and we'll give you this if you write these prescriptions. And that doctor reported them, I believe. And when he reported them, I believe that it became a federal issue. But there was 529, it was either billion or million dollars settled on that issue. They pay $600 for a prescription on Medicare and Medicaid. Come on, folks, wake up. It's a psychotropic drug. They'll tell you it'll make you feel good, but will it really? They'll tell the children that because they're uncooperative. And who wouldn't be uncooperative as a child and being removed from the loving parents that they have and grandparents that they have? Who would not be uncooperative? But they tell them, we're going to put you on this medicine because it's going to make you feel better. Little Gabriel Myers, he hung himself. Didn't make him feel better. And by the way, that drug was Seroquel. Wasn't even recommended for his age category.